Hello, amigos, and welcome to another episode of Inside the Ropes with Coach Mario. Coach Mario, owner and head coach of Warriors Pride Boxing Academy here in Miami, Florida, guys. Good morning. How you guys doing? Well, guys, I've been looking at a lot of comments on social media, a lot of comments on some of my episodes, of my latest episodes regarding what's transpiring at the 140-pound division. Everybody is treating Subriel Matias like he has leprosy. Nobody wants to touch him. Nobody wants to be near Subriel Matias. Subriel Matias, the champion of the IBF 140-pound division. All right, so we were talking about that on my last episode. Who is going to step inside the ring? Richardson Hitchings now, after the debacle against Gustavo Lemos this past weekend, has shown that he's not ready for the Orgullo Maternillo, the Puerto Rican monster. He's not ready for him. Teofimo Lopez picked some tomato can to fight his next event here in Miami, Florida. And Devin Haney has the low-hanging fruit, fighting an overhyped, overrated social media queen, Justin Bieber, Ryan Garcia. All right, so these guys are all choosing the path of less resistance. They don't want to choose somebody as dangerous as Subriel Matias. Subriel Matias has a compromise this next June 15th. June 15th in Puerto Rico against Lee Amparo. That's going to be a tough fight. He's fighting somebody that is really tough. He's not picking and choosing like some of these other guys, all right? And the hype train has taken off. Everybody on board. Everybody's on board of the Pitbull hype train, all right? It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable how many casuals there are that are fanatics, not fans, but fanatics that do not know much about the sport of boxing, and they're claiming Pitbull to be the new face of Mexican boxing. All right, Pitbull Cruz, Isaac Pitbull Cruz, the newly crowned WBA title holder who beat a tomato can in Rolly Hype Job Romero. All right, he was gifted a title by the WBA, and then they placed Pitbull somehow, who's never fought at 140, in there instead, fighting Ismael Barroso, who was the mandatory, who I believe should have fought Rolly Romero on that rematch, him being the interim champion of that weight division. All right, so nobody's talking about Isaac Pitbull Cruz fighting Ismael Barroso for his next fight. Everybody is losing their minds. A lot of my Mexican friends, my Mexican-American friends, are already claiming Isaac Pitbull Cruz as the new messiah of the sport of boxing in Mexico. And guys, that shows you how many casuals there are, how many fanatics. I remember, let me give you an example of fanatic. I remember when, and there are some fanatics, guys, regardless of countries, but I remember when Pipino Cuevas fought Tommy Hearns. All right, Pipino Cuevas was the welterweight champion of the world, and Tommy Hearns was the mandatory or the challenger for the 147-pound division. Tommy Hearns dispatched Pipino Cuevas in unbelievable fashion, knocking him out. The Cobra, the Motor City Cobra, just knocking him out with one of those 1-2s, famous 1-2s where he used to extend his lead hand and fall asleep his victim like a cobra would, just dangling out there that hand, placing it in front of his face, and then coming back with a cross and lights out. All right, Pipino Cuevas. Well, I remember that it was something that was in the news back then. A Mexican fan, after watching Pipino Cuevas get knocked out by by Tommy Hearns, watching the fight on TV, took his gun and said the following words: "Pinche Pipino," all right, or "Damn Pipino." Took the gun to his head and blew his brains out. And these are some of the fans that are out there. They have no critical thinking. They have no knowledge of the sport. They're just going by their emotions. They are fanatics. Listen, guys, Isaac Pitbull Cruz is a good fighter. I'm not criticizing Isaac Pitbull Cruz's abilities. I'm just saying it's too early. He hasn't fought anybody. Look at his record. Tank Davis, he gave him a good fight. Tank Davis is a fighter that likes to be a counter puncher. He fights off his back foot a lot. He moves around a lot. He doesn't like to take risk. Tank Davis does not like to take risks. That's why he's not fighting top opponents. Now Frank Martin, that's going to be a good opposition for him. But I don't think Tank Davis, as some of you have seen, is going to face somebody like Shakur or somebody like Devin Haney or somebody like Subriel Matias. He's not. And his own trainers have said it. All right? So the hype train, the bandwagon, however you want to call it, of Isaac Pitbull Cruz is ridiculous. It's actually laughable. All these people claim him to be the greatest champ. No, he's not, guys. He's just beat a mediocre fighter in Rolly Romero. And the first thing he says, he never mentioned Subriel Matias' name. He mentioned all the other ones where he can make some money. His father's definitely out mentioning other fighters like Ryan Garcia. They're all mentioning people that they know they're going to be making money and are low risk, high reward for Isaac Pitbull Cruz so he can keep his title and they can milk the system as much as Canelo has done. That's the new technique. All right? Isaac Pitbull Cruz is not going to fight Subriel Matias. Believe me, he will get destroyed inside of 5 rounds. He's a good fighter, but he's never fought anybody like Subriel Matias. For those of you who think that Isaac Pitbull Cruz would actually beat Subriel Matias, you're totally out of your gore, out of your mind. You know, Isaac Pitbull Cruz is 5'4", a little stocky fighter, throws, haymakers. It's a little strong guy. But Subriel Matias throws short, devastating punches, over 100 punches per round. Isaac Pitbull Cruz throws, how many? 40, maybe? If he catches you. Subriel Matias is going to be right on his face. Is a big, strong, 140 pounder. He's fought his whole career, his whole pro career at 140 pounds. He has no intention of fighting at 147. So those of you who are talking about him going up, moving up, he doesn't need to move up. He wants to get unification titles. He wants to fight the best at 140. Now, the supposedly best at 140 don't want to fight him. So what is Subriel Matias going to do? He's going to just keep on winning, try to make 1 or 2 good fights. I know Matchroom Boxing is going to try, and Eddie Hearn is going to try to close some kind of a deal with PBC or some of the other promoters in order to get Subriel Matias a big fight. All right, I believe he has 4 or 5 fights signed up with Matchroom Boxing. So he's Liam Powder is the first one in Puerto Rico, June 15th, a tough opponent. I hope Subriel Matias is not distracted by his fan base there in Puerto Rico and is able to take care of business. I'm pretty sure he's going to be a little nervous at the beginning. But once he gets hit by Liam Powder a couple of times, he's going to say, okay, now you're mine. I don't think that's going to last 7 rounds, guys. All right? And once Subriel Matias defeats Liam Paro, you know, convincingly and knocks him out or makes him quit in his corner, I don't think too many people are going to want to fight him either. You know? Forget about Isaac Pitbull Cruz. Now, the organization is going to try to milk that gravy train and to make Pitbull Cruz into the replacement of Canelo Alvarez, who is going downhill real fast. He's like on his last lap until retirement, and they're gonna try to make as much money as they can as Pitbull Cruz fan base. The fanatical fan base of Pitbull Cruz, you know, just supports him and sees him beating low-level hanging fruits. Right? So all the hype train fans for Isaac Pitbull Cruz, all the guys that are jumping on the bandwagon, get on the bandwagon real quick. The train is leaving the station. The hype train. It's unbelievable, man. I just laugh at some of the comments that I hear and I see on social media. People that do not know anything about boxing just commenting that he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, all right? Just because he's Mexican. That's the only reason. Just because he's Mexican, all right? We don't do that in Puerto Rico. There are some fanatics out there. There are some fanatics, I'll admit that. But there are people that actually have critical thinking that will tell you, and I can tell you who's a good Puerto Rican fighter, who's not a good Puerto Rican fighter. Who's a Puerto Rican fighter that is going to make it and who's not. All right? There are many talented Puerto Rican boxers, but not too many elite nowadays. To be honest with you. You know, Amanda Serrano is the face of Puerto Rican boxing right now. You know, she's on her last legs too. I hope she fights that rematch with Katie Taylor, and it's a 12 3-minute round championship fight. If Katie Taylor decides to do that, she's going to be finished, and that would be the last fight for Amanda Serrano. If I were Amanda Serrano's team, that's what I would tell her. Hey, you know, hang them up after that. Go out with a bang. You know, like they say in Spanish, cerrar con broche de oro. That her career, which is a golden career and is pride for the Puerto Rican people. All right? But going back to the Isaac Pitbull Cruz hype train, who's on board? Who believes that this guy is really, you know, what they say he is? I can tell you he is aggressive, he's a good fighter and all that, but hey man, this guy is the weakest link at 140, and he's going to avoid all the top dogs as long as he can, make as much money as he can, and continue drawing the Mexican crowd and the fan base that he has from Mexico and the Mexican Americans who do not know how to speak Spanish. The more languages you speak, the more intellectual and smart you are, the more you can relate with other people, other cultures. And that is a thought, when you only believe one language is enough, that is a thought that is something that is not beneficial to your growth, intellectual growth. All right. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think. Is Isaac Pitbull Cruz, someone that's been marketed as the new face of boxing? Are you on board with Isaac Pitbull Cruz hype train? Are you on board with he's the new face of Mexican boxing? Are you on board that he is the greatest 140 pound, the greatest 140 pounder, that nobody can beat him? Oh my God. Anyway, guys, I just had to get this out of my system this morning because I've been laughing all morning reading some of these comments. But anyway, 140 pound weight division is frozen, guys. Frozen. Nobody wants to touch Matias. Nobody wants to risk. And that is the reason why. Let me say, that is the result of what has transpired in the last decade or so since Floyd Mayweather. The blueprint that he set, picking and choosing, getting away with, fighting low-hanging fruit. Now that that blueprint was followed by Canelo Alvarez, who has also a lot of hype train or, fanatics fan base. Guys with no brain cells, all right? They're just fanatics, just like that guy I told you about that blew his brains out in Mexico when Pipino Cuevas got knocked out. That's the kind of fan base that believe Pitbull Cruz is the greatest thing since sliced bread, a new Mexican face of boxing. I do not believe so. Anyway, guys, it's going to be proven sooner or later what he's made of when he fights a real elite fighter, a top elite fighter, all right? And we'll wait to see if that happens. I don't have too much faith that's going to happen. Look what's transpired with Canelo through all these years avoiding Benavidez, their top guys. And that's another story for another day. Benavidez appearing drunk the other day on TV. That was shameful, especially when you're in fight camp, all right? That's a bad example for our youth. Anyway, guys, this is all for now. Please remember to like, share, subscribe. Let's get up to 2,000 likes. And don't hate me, guys. Don't hate me. I'm just speaking my opinion. And I know there's a lot of you guys who agree with what I'm saying. There's a lot of people that disagree, and that's okay. You can comment and you can disagree, all with respect, okay? Anyway, guys, love you all. God bless you. This is all for now. So Coach Mario saying hasta la vista. God bless you all, and peace.